Now, I know people tell you to pack light when you come to Japan, but it doesn't need to be like this. Today, I want to talk about what and how to pack when you come to Japan as someone who lives here, who has been back and forth from Japan many times, and who is a tour guide who has pretty much seen every tourist mistake in the book. Hi everyone, it's Abby from PicTour. I am coming to you today from the comfort of my floor so that you know I mean business. Let's get into it. Step one is thinking about your suitcase itself. So people say to pack light, but for the average person, a carry-on suitcase and a backpack is probably enough anyway, even without trying to be too minimalist. No, you don't need to go and spend $200 on a new suitcase just for this trip. If you already have one, try to work with it unless it's unreasonably heavy or difficult to manage. That said, one type of suitcase that does work well, especially in Japan, is a top opening suitcase. These are useful because they can be opened in very small hotel rooms, of which there are many here, and they take up less floor space and they're easier to manage in these tight environments. So I don't have one of these, so this is more just if I could go get another suitcase today, that's what I would buy. But like I said, your normal trusted suitcase, like my normal trusted suitcase here, is pretty much a-okay. Regardless of the suitcase type, let's talk about how to pack it. First off, everyone tends to buy a lot of stuff in Japan, so let's consider planning for that. Start by thinking realistically about how much you plan to buy. If you're coming here planning to buy clothes, anime figures, skincare, souvenirs, whatever, you're gonna need space. And in that case, I recommend packing an extra bag inside your suitcase. So here's a few options. Let's say you're coming just with a carry-on like this. For a lot of people, this carry-on suitcase will be enough for a 1 to 2 week trip. Then what you can do is have a backpack like this, squish it up and put it inside of here. It might take up like a third or half of the section here, but that should still give you enough space to put everything else around it, and so that when you leave Japan, you have an entire other bag and the space that the bag was taking up to put more stuff. The other option is if you're going to check a bag, a suitcase like this, pack all of your stuff in here first, and then fold this bad boy up and put it inside of here. That way, when you are ready to leave Japan, you have an entire other suitcase that you can put all of your stuff in. Now, if that sounds annoying to you, the third option here would just be to buy a new suitcase when you get here, which is perfectly a-okay, and there's more than enough places you can buy one here. I usually recommend Don Quixote, and that might be easier than having to lug around another suitcase. But if you already have a trusted suitcase and you don't want to spend money on another bag, there's a choice for you. By the way, unless you are literally moving here, I wouldn't recommend bringing 2 large suitcases with you. Trying to navigate with these or just deal with them in the first place is going to be a pain in the butt, and I genuinely think you probably don't need this much stuff. When I moved to Japan from America, I had 2 of these. So if you're going on vacation, I don't know if you need that much stuff. The second thing to know here would be that Japan's luggage forwarding service, Takubin, which is by Yamato Transport, is super reliable and affordable. It's usually like 2,000 to 4,000 yen per bag within normal city transfer distances. So if you come with big luggage, or if you just don't want to have to bring even something this big on the train with you every time you change hotels, what I recommend doing is the day before you depart a hotel, making a small bag for your basic necessities. The essentials, of course, your toiletries, maybe a change of clothes or 2 to take with you on the train. And the day before you check out of your hotel, you can then send everything besides this little bag you've made of essentials onto the next hotel. All of that stuff should get there the following day for most distances. Hotel staff can typically help you with this. I'll note that it's not something you can usually do at Airbnbs though, by the way, especially if you're not gonna be there to receive the luggage when it arrives. A third helpful packing note is to pack clothes by day. So I like to have a full outfit for each day, including socks and underclothes, packed into some little bag like this. Sometimes I even use Ziploc bags. Put it all in here. Then when you put these into your suitcase, boom, 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 you will easily be able to understand what you have ready for each day. What I also tend to bring is some kind of like garbage or big plastic bag. And then what I do is as I go, I start to put those dirty clothes into that laundry bag. So the reason for this is one of the most important things I recommend doing while you're here is coin laundry. So there's coin laundry places literally everywhere, including at most hotels. And it costs just a few hundred yen typically to do your laundry. And most places will also sell things like detergent, everything that you need. It's super easy. You will feel like you are back in college again, and this will save you so much space. So instead of packing for 14 days, you can have 7 days of stuff and just wash it halfway through and then rewear it. You can even re-coordinate it if you need to. Although I'll note that literally, no offense, but nobody will care if you rewear things during your trip. Fourth thing to know when you pack is although you can buy almost literally anything in Japan, toiletries, clothes, skincare, whatever, I don't recommend trying to over minimalist your suitcase where you end up coming here with nothing. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to go out to the store and re-buy everything, and it'll end up feeling like a task that you have to complete rather than fun shopping. So consider what you will really want to get here, and then what's easier to just bring. All right, now let's talk about what to pack. So the first important thing would be your passport, as well as a photocopy and a cloud backup of it. As well, printed copies of your flight and your hotel bookings in English and Japanese are also very helpful, especially for taxis and hotels. Also, find my iPhone or your phone's version of that on, as well as consider putting air tags on anything important. So basically everyone in Japan has iPhones as well, meaning that air tags will be extra effective. Next, cash and cards. I recommend bringing about 20 to 30,000 yen upon arrival for 2 people. Japan still uses cash more than people expect, and of course experiences will vary, but I live in Kyoto and I still go to several cash-only places every week. So yes, you might not need it, and there's always people commenting on the internet like, well, I never used cash in Japan, but that's exactly why you should have it, just in case you do need it. So there's 20 to 30,000 yen, I think, for 2 people. You can always get more later from basically any ATM in Japan with a debit card. And of course, you can bring your credit card. It's widely accepted, especially at any kind of chain store, chain restaurant, but just not everywhere yet. An IC card. If you have one from a previous trip, bring it. If not, watch my IC card video so you know what to do when you arrive. Next, I recommend packing some kind of day bag. So what should this have? Well, step 1, it should have your phone or camera if you have one. You're gonna need your wallet or coin purse, so something to put your money in. You can also get these little coin organizer things from like Daiso if you find that easier to organize your coins. Your passport, doxed, I'm American. If you couldn't tell, some kind of little hand towel, and you will need this because when you go to a public bathroom, oftentimes they will not provide you with much of anything. So you will either want to have hand sanitizer, or you will want to get these little soap sheets that you can get on Amazon or here in Japan at like drugstores and Daiso. And then when you go to dry your hands, there's no paper towels or hand dryers. So you have this ready. Of course, not every single bathroom is like this, but you'll still find this quite frequently at like old train stations, at temples. They just have some running water. That's what you get. So if you want to stay clean and not get sick, you will want to have these kinds of things. Next, I love tissues. Tissues or wet wipes are always good to have. If you don't have it on your phone, you're gonna want to have your IC card, and then some kind of charging device for all of your other devices. So these little battery packs are amazing. Bring them when you come here. It can be hard to find places to charge your stuff in Japan, unless you go to like a McDonald's. Most places do not have somewhere where you can plug something in besides like your hotel. So you're gonna be probably taking pictures, taking video and stuff all day, looking at your phone on the train. Just have this as a backup in case that dies. So of course, this is just the things that you would want to have while you're in Japan. If you have normal stuff that you have in your purse, obviously we would also put it in here. By the way, when it comes to your day bag, I highly recommend trying to not just carry around everything you own with you wherever possible. Sometimes I see people walking around with those like giant hiking backpacks, like this is the Himalayas or something, you're just gonna end up with back pain. You're gonna end up not enjoying yourself because you're lugging these things around. I don't know what, like, would you do that somewhere else? I don't really think so. Like, would you go to New York City and like walk around with these Himalayan backpacks? Probably not. So I don't know why you would do that in Tokyo, unless that's just who you are, in which case go for it. But for the most part, coin lockers are gonna save your life. Takubin, like I said, forwarding stuff will save your life. Let's talk a little bit more about what electronics to bring. So obviously you're gonna bring your phone, but prepare what you're gonna do on the plane in advance. I have a surprising amount of people tell me that they forgot to like download stuff on their phone in advance. Another thing that's not packing exactly, but it's thinking about how you're gonna use the internet on your phone when you're here. And you wanna think about this before you get here. So I have a whole video about preparing for this kind of thing for more info. Other electronic information that you'll wanna know when it comes to packing: Japan uses Type A outlets. You will need a plug adapter if you have a 3-prong cord or something that isn't Type A. So if you're from a country and what you use doesn't look like this, you're gonna need some kind of adapter. And like I said, I highly recommend bringing a power bank to charge stuff as you go throughout the day. But I will note that you can also rent these here if you want from Charge Spot is a common one, which you'll see everywhere in touristy areas like big hotel chains, theme parks, train stations, even convenience stores have these charge spots where you just can like rent a portable charging thing for the day. Pack enough charging cords for all of your stuff. Don't just bring one cord for like 6 devices. Bring earbuds or headphones to entertain yourself. And this is where I'm gonna mention stuff for your kids when it comes to electronics. So please don't like have your kid on the train listening to like Miss Rachel like out loud. You know, like if you can get them like little headphones or you can find them fun activities that aren't noisy, that's preferable here because it's not just about like disturbing other people, but everything is so quiet here. So bring quiet activities for your kids. And then cameras. So if you are trying to bring a camera, please keep it lightweight. Please don't bring too many lenses because literally every single person I have ever encountered that has brought multiple lenses over to Japan has regretted it. And they have pretty much not used more than one of them for the most part the entire time, unless that's literally your job, in which case, do it. For most people, your smartphone is probably fine instead of a camera. All right, let's talk about something very important, and that is clothing. So let's start with shoes. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the shoes to a minimum. Okay, number 1 would be the most comfortable pair of shoes that you own. Bring them, okay? Especially if they're easy to take on and off. Please do not show up with sneakers you have never worn before because you do not know if they're actually gonna be comfortable or not. It is very normal that you might do 15 to 30,000 steps a day, and most people are not used to walking that much. Then after that, you can bring one stylish pair of shoes, maybe for a nice dinner or getting some photos. And then maybe the 3rd pair of shoes would be a seasonal pair of shoes if that's relevant to you, such as waterproof shoes, maybe if you're here in summer when it rains all the time, or maybe some boots or something warmer for winter. And that is enough. 2 or 3 pairs of shoes is enough. And you're all gonna end up buying Onitsuka Tigers here anyway and wearing those. So clothing. Of course, clothing will depend on the season. I have a video about summer and winter, which are the 2 seasons you really need to plan the most for, but I will note that spring and fall also have large temperature swings. So think about the weather beforehand, check the weather forecast beforehand, but generally layers are gonna be good regardless of season. Summer, Japan is humid, pack breathable clothes, especially cotton. Linen is fine, but it will obviously get wrinkly. Winter, it is cold and dry, but the indoors is incredibly warm. So have sufficient layers since they will be on and off and on and off. And Uniqlo's Heat Tech, which is just like long underwear, is also really good if you're sensitive to cold. I recommend bringing more than enough underwear and socks. If it is rainy or you get sweaty from walking around all day or whatever, you will be glad you bought them. Yes, you can wash them, but socks and underwear don't take up that much space. Another thing to think about when you're packing your clothes is, I have talked about this before in my summer video, but athleisure, so at my Americans right now, the athleisure with like the yoga pants or the leggings is really not a thing here. So I'm not your mom. I'm not here to like tell you what you can and cannot wear. But when you come here, just practice a little modesty. And this goes to my ladies and my gentlemen. When you want to wear like casual clothing, having slightly polished casual clothing is better. And if you wear leggings without some kind of long dress or shirt over it, gym shorts and a t-shirt kind of fit, you will kind of stand out and you will look like you put zero effort into your outfit. And coming to Japan is honestly a nice chance to get to enjoy dressing up. Next, when it comes to pajamas, a lot of hotels will actually provide pajamas. If you're not sure, just check with your hotel. Another clothing thing would be compression shorts or like socks if you think you're not going to be used to walking so much. The last clothing thing to think about would be socks. So you might be taking your shoes off more than you expect in front of other people, maybe when you go to certain restaurants or hotels or temples, and it's pretty embarrassing when you take your shoes off, you go in the temple and you have big holes and your toes are coming out of your socks. So next, let's talk about 2 fun things. So the first would be your Goshuinsho if you've come here to Japan before and you got one of these. Your Goshuinsho, by the way, is the book that has the temple shrine stamps in it. If you have one of those, this is your moment. And if you don't have one of those, they're fun to get when you get here. The other thing is some kind of little notebook that you can put station stamps in. So although some people call these stamps, because that's kind of what it is, I guess, in English, this book and your station stamp book cannot be the same book. They need to be separate books. This is kind of a spiritual journey of your shrines and temples. So mixing that with like a Tokyo Station stamp, maybe ill-advised. So some kind of little notebook, maybe like around this big, pocket-sized. If it can fit in your day bag, that's phenomenal. These little stamps will be around Japan, even outside of stations, like at museums or theme parks. And it's a fun thing to task your children with. If you bring the notebook from the get-go, you can make sure you have it when you get to the airport, the first train stations, and you get to collect all those and don't skip those. All right, next up would be toiletries you should bring. So I said earlier, hand sanitizer or little soap sheets. And similarly, a little hand towel. You can either bring one from home or you can get one with a really unique design here because pretty much all Japanese people have their personal hand towel that they carry with them. By the way, what does the average Japanese person do in the bathroom with no soap or no hand sanitizer or maybe even no towel? I don't know, don't ask me. You will be prepared though. Next would be deodorant. So deodorant is something I'm especially mentioning because Japanese people don't really wear deodorant. So if you do, you will not be able to find your normal deodorant here. That is something you definitely need to bring. Next, bring your trusted devices like your electric shavers, your electric toothbrushes, your hair styling tools, and all the chargers, because you won't want to rebuy those here probably. And then if you have non-negotiable skincare items, bring those. If it's a toiletry that I didn't just mention bringing, you can pretty much definitely buy it here. That's not to say that you need to buy it here. That's just to say that you can. Next, medication. So generally bring enough for your trip of what you know that you will probably want. So things like Tums, Pepto-Bismol, sinus meds, aspirin. Yes, they sell similar things here, but sometimes it's better just to have these things on hand from the get-go. And by the way, some medications are restricted in Japan. I have a whole video about medicine here. Now let's talk more about things that you don't need to pack. First of all, don't pack too many clothes. Like I said, just wash them. Don't pack excessive shoes. You don't really need them. I would also avoid overpacking the toiletries. Your hotel will typically provide the usual hair and body wash products, as well as some kind of face wash, a comb, a toothbrush, toothpaste, hair dryers. Don't take up space in your suitcase with these things that you're obviously going to get when you get here. The next thing I generally advise against bringing would be perfume. So some of y'all are going to be mad about this. If you have to bring it, please do not, please, okay, I'm begging you. There's actually a term here, smell harassment, because Japanese people don't really wear perfume. And when you get on a train, if you are wearing perfume, even if it feels like you just went psh, psh, and that's it, every single person on that train is gonna smell you. And they're gonna be forced to smell you. Sometimes I'm on a train and I'm like, that's probably an American, because I smell the Bath and Body Works as it enters the train. There's a lot of very tight spaces, cramped spaces, small restaurants that people will just really not want to smell your perfume the whole time. Next would be an umbrella or rain clothes. So rain clothes, first of all, it is too hot and humid in summer to wear these when it rains. Nobody here wears these, but you don't need to bring an umbrella either. You can literally just borrow one from most hotels, or you can just buy one at literally any convenience store or drugstore for like 500 yen. I like the really small, compact ones that will fit nicely in your day bag. And then you can bring it home with you if you want. The next thing I'm gonna tell you not to bring would be a coin purse. And the reason I tell you not to bring a coin purse is because it's so fun to buy them here. The last thing you don't need to bring that maybe it's like a really American thing, but the portable water bottles, you're just gonna be lugging this around everywhere. There's nowhere to fill it up here, and there's literally vending machines on every corner. All of these things that I've just mentioned not bringing, if you wanna bring them, be my guest. These are just things that it's more than easy enough not to bring, so if you don't wanna take up the space in your suitcase, you don't have to. All right, so that's how I pack for going to Japan. It's not overly minimal, but it's not like overstuffed either. If you pack with how Japan actually works in mind, you'll find walking around more comfortable, moving through stations easier, and you'll spend less time managing all of your stuff and more time enjoying your trip. If this was helpful, consider liking and maybe subscribing. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.